Hey peeps, welcome back to another video. This is a bit of a spur of the moment video. I do have a geeky mechanical video coming up on Yellow Touring soon. It's filmed, I just need to edit it, but it's quite an involved one, so I haven't got around to editing yet. But anyway, if you remember my last video, I did a bit of track prep on the Z3. I'm pleased to report, and I know this is controversial, my Z3 is better on track than my E36 Touring, and that is definitely controversial, but I love my Touring. It's a forever car, but the Z3, the lack of weight, the chassis, everything just hands down. So it's a bit of a clickbaity title, I get that, but let me give you the breakdown as to why. I've got both cars here, I'll talk you through it. So there's the Z3. We had that obviously set up for track use. Set of fairly grippy tyres, albeit a few years old. Some coilovers, some front pads, some track pads, some Frodo pads. So very similar setup to this. This has got a few more track mods. It's fully poly bushed. It's got a big anti-roll bar on the front. Not really got any weight reduction. Still got a full interior. But in terms of coilovers, spring rate's identical. Both BCs. Both got the same brakes with a Frodo front pads. This has now got some 320D rear calipers on it and pads, but won't worry too much about that because it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. The Z3 is a 2.8 dual Vanos, 193 horsepower, bog standard, no modifications at all besides the resonator's been cut out. So yeah, literally no mods. Both have a 5-speed ZF. Both cars the same gearbox, and both cars have a 315 LSD, slightly different design on this, but still the same ratio. They both have Z3 steering racks. Z3 rack is good upgrade. So both cars share the same steering rack. The only difference really in these cars is that this runs an E30 rear axle. This obviously doesn't, and this is a bit heavier. Last time I weighed this, it was about 1350 kilograms without me in it and half a tank of fuel. This I've never weighed, but I would assume it's probably more like 1200 kilos, maybe a little bit less, maybe getting on for 1150, but probably about 1200 kilos. So they're very similar in terms of drivetrain. So I've got a very black and white picture of performance, but ultimately this car is much better on track than this car, as much as it pains me to say. And also, I'm just going to throw out there, this is purely from a grip perspective, not a drift perspective. As a drift car, Touring, good. We like the weight transfer because of that big arse that sticks out on the top there. So, wow, super sunny today in the UK, which is like almost unheard of. Hence, I'm out doing a video because I was like, oh, it's quite a nice day. Anyway, what is the reason that these cars are so different in their performance on track? Well, put it bluntly, it's down to the weight and the centre of gravity. I feel I've driven both cars at the same track, very similar conditions, and the Z3 is just as quick around the track as the Touring is, despite the Z3 having about 50 horsepower less. So it's about 25% down on power, and it's lapping about the same sort of time as my Touring, or very close to. And this is obviously with 25% less horsepower and less mods to the car in terms of no big anti-roll bars. Not really on track spec tyres. They're 6-year-old Federals. They're like a summer tyre really, whereas the Touring's on 888R semi-slicks. So the Touring should be quicker, but it just isn't. And as much as it pains me to say, because I love my Touring, I'm a total Touring fanboy, I've got to admit the Touring is a compromise on track. So where does it come undone? Well, if you look at the car here, obviously this is the wheelbase, full interior, all that kind of stuff, we know that, but it's all of this weight up here. See that roof line? If you've got a saloon, this dips down here and comes off here. The Touring has weight all the way back there. There's glass, there's the metal roof. It's just a compromise. The Z3, if we look at the same profile of car, we've got, here's the waistline, we've got a windshield or windscreen, whatever you want to call it, and then nothing else. obviously the track that I did with the roof down, so probably not the most aerodynamic, but the whole that I did with the roof down, it's just, yeah, there's a lot less weight up high, so the center of gravity is noticeably lower in the Z3. Also factor in, the Z3 has a slightly shorter chassis or wheelbase. So although if you know your E36s, you know every single body style has the same wheelbase. So whether it's a touring, saloon, coupe, convertible, even a compact has the same wheelbase. So the Z3 does have a slightly shorter wheelbase. It's about 1.5 foot shorter than the Touring. I'm probably not going to be able to show it in a photo because of my camera, it's going to distort it. But I mean, you might be able to get a gist of it. But I measured it yesterday. It's about a foot and a bit shorter than a 36, any 36. So that obviously adds to the nimbleness. It does mean it can be a bit snappy because it's a shorter wheelbase, but ultimately it's got a ton of grip at this power level. You know, 200-ish horsepower. It feels really, really good, and I had an absolute hoot with it. So yeah, the Z3 with the 2.8 at this power level, both with LSDs, I think is the better track car. A lot more chuckable. It's kind of unsurprising because obviously less weight we know is generally better for like a performance point of view. But for anyone who's like had one of these cars, and you know has been, or even if you haven't had one and you've heard that they're good, I'm pleased to confirm they genuinely are good. One thing to factor in is that obviously this E30 rear end is supposedly a bit, you know, somewhat limited in its performance compared to the rear ends in these cars, but my experience is it feels perfectly balanced on track. So I think these cars are going to become the sort of hidden budget track day toy in the very near future, because these cars are now like £5 for a relatively decent one, and then you're going to spend another £5 making it track prepped. This car today, I used some second-hand BCs that I just had lying around, obviously perks of the business. They come off, I think the fronts were off that car and the rears were off another car. A set of pads that come off another car, again second-hand, but you know you can buy them new for about 100 quid. And then, okay, the tyres are old, but even if you bought new tyres, you've got a couple £100 in tyres, 100 quid in pads, and then some coilovers. Ideally, a set of HSDs or BCs, preferably BCs, but I know that some of you are on a budget, so your HSDs are a bit cheaper. But yeah, it's a wicked jump in and go car. It doesn't look half bad once it's lowered. Okay, a 36 in my opinion is still the better looking car. Every day of the week I'd rather be seen in that than in the Z3, but a good one of those is £5, and then for it to be track prepped, you're gonna have to spend, you know, at least a couple of grand on it, maybe a bit more. With these, okay, you don't have to spend any money. I mean, I did a wet track day in October in it, and it was absolutely unreal. So the last video you saw was a bit of track day prep, and yeah, it did the job. You can see the proof that I absolutely spanked it round. There's all the tyre on the quarter from the track. There's all the flies and bugs. It got a proper hiding. So what next, I hear you ask? Well, this is the tricky thing, because I kind of built that car as a fast road / track toy, but I want to go faster. The rear end in that car, not the suspension per se, but the body style, just means on corners when you're pushing on, which is where a 36 is usually really good, the arse is just a bit heavy, a bit floppy, and just doesn't instill confidence in you or into me when cornering. And I'm not the first person to say this with the Touring. Listen, we don't buy a Touring because it's going to be a perfect track weapon. We know it's a compromise. I'm not knocking them completely. I still love the car, but you have to factor in, if you want to go fast on track, the greenhouse, which is essentially what this is, because it's got a million bits of glass in it, is a compromise, unfortunately. So probably stop using this as a track toy to go faster in. I'm not saying I won't do the occasional track day in it, but it's not a dialed track toy, and it's certainly, in my mind, it's still a fun car. I still love it, but it's not going to be the outright 36 track monster that I want to build. This has proven to me that lightness is key, because your corner speed is just tenfold. It's easier on tyres, it's easier on brakes, it's just generally more fun. So This car is now unfortunately going to get broken up. It's quite rusty, as you can see down here. Well, the wings rotten, the seals rotten, the quarter panel's a bit frilly. The roof is now broken since the last video. The plastic split in the roof. It leaks pretty badly in winter. So as much as it pains me to say, because it looks hard as nails, we're going to be pulling this one apart to make way for something else. So a good friend of mine has bought the engine and gearbox out of this, so we're just going to break the rest of it up. You can see that the seal's completely gone on this side. The quarters have got a bit of rust on them. They're not too bad. But the underside on this car isn't the best. It's certainly not like horrific, but it's not the best. And we're going to put our time and energy into something else. We do have another one of these, similar spec, 2.8 wide body. So it's not the end of the Z3. We might build a slightly better one that's more track focus. But in the meantime, I don't have it yet. But what I want to try now is jumping into a 36 saloon and seeing what that's like on track compared to both of these cars, because I want to build something that's a bit of an animal on track. I love how that looks and it's practical, but it's not that good on track. It does the job, it's fun, but it's not that good. This thing is really good on track with minimal money spent on it, but it's incredibly impractical because you can't get anything in it. And being a convertible, you know, it's a convertible, which is cool in the sun, but like it's not really a track toy. There's no roof on it. If you roll that, you know, you're gonna hurt yourself. And also at this power level it's great, but if I had another 100 horsepower, you're probably going to find the limit of that rear end pretty quickly. So the plan is to try a 36 saloon next, which we're going to take some weight out of, but the thought behind it is that there's less weight over the rear axle, or sorry, there's still weight over the rear axle, but the center of gravity is lower because we've not got that weight outboard. So we'll see how that goes. We'll try the 36 saloon. We've got a good baseline for both of these cars now because I've experienced them both on the road, on track, fast, and sort of, you know what they're about. So we're going to swap to a 36 saloon and just have some fun with that. So I've going to buy one of my friend's cars. He's got a M50 B25 manual saloon, which has already got a few bits and pieces done on it, polybush rear end, track coilovers. It's already got some buckets in there, so it's a fairly cheap way for me to jump forward with a build, and it's got a clean shell, or relatively clean shell, so I don't need to do any welding, none of that. So I'm gonna use the car as a baseline to go around the same track at some point in the next few weeks, hopefully. And then I've got a black and white comparison, and then I can decide, right, what toy do I want to build as a track car? Do I continue with the Z3, which isn't perfect, but it's a really good chassis, or is the 36 Loon a better compromise? Because although yes, it's not as light as a Z3, it's got a better rear end that can deal with more power when I'm ready to add more power to it. We will see, I guess. I'm hoping the 36 Loon comes out on top, because ultimately I'm a 36 man. The Z3s are still cool, but you know, I'm not a massive fan of convertibles generally, although I must admit I'm enjoying the experience in the sun, cruising around with your mates, but it's not usually my cup of tea. It's a bit of a sight to see a six foot bloke sat in a convertible. Not my usual cup of tea, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. The chassis is unreal, the car is unreal. Bit of a shame to break it, but ultimately it's quite rusty. Its MOT's up soon, and it's not a car I really want to put any time or money into, knowing that it needs a roof. The carpets, even now, like we've had 2 months of dry weather, the carpets are still full of water because it leaks so bad over winter. So yeah, this one's getting the chop. We're going to get 36 Loon. I'll show you that once it arrives, show you what sort of state it's in, and we'll see what sort of car we can build and how much we can, or how well we can make a car go. As a baseline, for those of you that are local, if you've been to Thruxton, last year, the last session I managed, I don't know if this is quick or fast, but it's my baseline. I managed a 139.7 in the Touring. That was my fastest lap in the Touring. Bear in mind it's a 2.8, about 250 brake, but it's got full interior, no weight reduction per se. The Z3, same track, same conditions. I didn't really do any timing yesterday, but the times I did in the middle of the day, I was averaging about a 140.5, 140.6. So you can only assume by the end of the day I would have been as quick as the Touring, or if not quicker, which is quite surprising considering the power difference, but obviously less weight is best. So anyway, to summarise, well, it'll be pretty interesting to see what the saloon does as a baseline back to back, so I'll let you know once I've done a track day in that. But yeah, to summarise, Z3 with the same drivetrain is better than a 36 Touring on track, which is, I know, who'd have thought it. The man who's obsessed with 36s comes out. Look, the Z3 technically is still a 36. We'll call it 36.5, whatever they call it. I think someone on Wikipedia's, or even BMW, they call it 36.5 or something like that. It's essentially still a 36, so let's cut it some slack. That's why I own one, because it's cool. Well, I own 3, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this car's getting broken up. If any of you watching this need any bits of your Z3, just drop me a message on Facebook or email through the business or whatever. Equally, if you need any modified parts, if you're getting into track days, coilovers, bushes, brakes, whatever, you name it, drop me a message. More than happy to supply your own bits. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. I will get a video out on the Touring, show all the work I've been doing to it. Now we're going to sort of demote that to more of a road car, focus on it as a road car. We've got some good plans for that, so yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.